And the Fed's pretty much made it a realization that they will continue to rise until they see the data showing a curbing of that inflation. But as we all know, prices have never really gone backwards. They continue to rise.
So where do you see the real estate market in the big picture of things going?
Well, where I see it going, really, it's all going to be a regional approach. There's a nation look at it as interest rates are rising. Yes, we understand the reason why these interest rates are rising on capital is to slow inflation. And the Fed's pretty much made it a realization that they will continue to rise until they see the data showing a curbing of that inflation. But as we all know, prices have never really gone backwards. They continue to rise. Okay, and at one point I'd spoken to a guy that, not trying to get really off track, but if you look at the car market, you look at the auto market and how things have worked. We've gone from a pickup truck that was $25,000 to $50,000 to $70,000. And where that all comes down to is different levers can be pulled. You walk into a dealership, they're saying, where does your payment need to be? Okay. And this is all going to correlate into the correction of the market, per se, right? A lot of buyers, it's a psychological thing, is they're looking at what is my monthly payment? Does it fit into my income, the scope of what I make every day, every month? Can I make that payment? So they're not really looking as 8%, right? So it's going to come down to multiple different factors, is the price of the house, whatever. But in the auto market, the reason why it's continued to be artificial inflation is because you walk into a dealership, they say, what does your payment need to be? It needs to be $700 a month. I'm just throwing a number, right? Okay, no problem. So they look at the price of the car. You notice the price of the car never comes down. They say, what about some cash down? Well, I could put a couple $1,000s down. They work you there. Then the next step is to move towards interest rate. What can I get on your interest rate? We credit subpar, say 650, 660. We can get you a 7% interest rate. All right. Well, your payment now at 48 months is actually $900. So what they do is they say, well, what about a longer payment? So they come up with a structure to move from a 48-month payment down to a 84-month payment now to make your payment look so good to you that you're willing to sign up for that. It's the same way this correction is going to happen, is you're going to see the payments are going to get too high for normal incomes. You're going to have to reduce the house price maybe, okay, because interest rates aren't going to come down.
Yep.
You're only capped at a 30-year mortgage, so your pricing reduction will need to come down 5 to 10%. So when you're buying projects now, when you're going to source those projects, say off market, whatever, you need to take that into effect that there is probably a correction of that. I don't think there's a market tanking.
Yep.
07, 08 was different. You had a lot of predatory lending going on, people getting money that 100% debt to income ratios. Now I think it's 46 or 47% based off of guidelines.
Yep.
A lot of people have a lot of equity in their houses now. Most people have 3% or under interest rates. People have more money in the bank. A lot more flexibility there. The millennial group is moving up.
Plus the demand that's just flooding the southeastern United States,
exactly.
Right?
Yes. Geographically, it's going to be kind of in its own little zones.
That's a good point.
It will
regional,
be.
Yeah.
It'll be a regional approach. I mean, it's...
So you got like New York City up here where everyone's just running away. They're fleeing communism. And you got Cali and, this side of the country where regulations and being right up on top of your neighbors, there's obviously people are running away from there. And people are running out to the southeastern Sunbelt part of the United States, right? God's country.
Well, and understand this too. In California at the time, right now in California, there are guidelines being put in for flippers to where you have to pay an additional tax to flip the house.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen is a lot of people are going to stop flipping. That is going to stop. So what you're going to have is you're going to have a lot of dilapidated houses that can't be fixed because it's not worth it to an investor.
Yeah.
FHA won't give you the loan because it doesn't pass CO 100s or it doesn't pass this inspection, whatever the case, VA, whomever it is, they're not going to pass it. Most lenders that are on a 30-year mortgage are going to want the CO 100 document. I mean, all of them. It's kind of a guideline.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't pass any of those tests, they're not going to give you the money. So the only person that can buy it is private money, individuals like ourselves that go out and invest, but you're not going to do it when you have this.
Yeah, they're whacking you. So basically, cancel that for parking your money, right? You want to park your money somewhere where you know it's safe and secure, and there's not all kinds of crazy policies that try to take it away from you, right?
Exactly. And you're seeing about, over the past 10 years, almost 800,000 people move out of California into Texas. Okay? So the Austin, Texas market picked up. Dallas market picked up really well. Austin's seeing a little bit of a hit right now. You're seeing a little bit of a correction in Austin. Don't really know why. but Dallas is still strong, Houston,
Yeah.
any of those areas, and it has to do with policies.
It does.
At the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you're Democrat, Republican, whatever. It matters about, if you want to be in this business, about what the policies around you and where you're investing at.
Yep.
Money doesn't look about any party.
The thing about business is you can uproot and move just about anywhere, especially in this virtual world that we live in, right? Driven by supply chain, everything else, and technology, right? But you can literally, if COVID didn't prove anything else, it's that you can work from home in front of a laptop, right? Like Zoom stock exploded, and this new virtual workforce is just, it's now like a common trend that people accept as common business practice. So it's going to be really interesting to look like the big picture, seeing where things go. But to kind of rein it back in, man, let's talk about regional, right? We've seen a lot of institutional money, right? Big money, hedge funds, cash buyers, people that are relocating from up north, and they're just dumping money into the southeastern Sunbelt, right? So to your point, I'm glad you touched on the regional specific buy box point, because that's what it is, right? And thank goodness for local municipalities and local policies that can help, structure and sustain growth. But man, this is our hot zone, right? Like,
it is.
I don't see us getting
and everything stems from the approach of, where's your buy box? Who is buying what in these areas? Who's moving these areas? Because, I know we spoke about it before, in 08, 07, the luxury market was the first thing to go. Right. So, of course, in Charleston, there is a lot of luxury down on the coast that are ranging over $2-3 million. So, capital, a lot of times when these interest rates rise like that, to get a little squirmy on those type of houses. A lot of those people that are buying those houses are fleeing from New York and those areas, because an average cost of a house there is over $1 million. So when they come down, this is nothing to them. And especially if they can keep their job that's in New York pay salary and come to Charleston, it's a win-win for them, right? Less property taxes, one. I'll give you an example. My next door neighbor is from Chicago. He told me, I paid $500,000 for a house there or something. It was somewhere around that range. And he said, my property tax is $12,000 a year. You can't sustain off that. I mean, average tax down there about $2,000 or so or more for a $500,000 house. So you can't sustain that. And he also kept his job in Chicago and went remote. So you're seeing a big drastic shift there because of technology. Technology is making our lives better, and it makes it worse in some ways too.
Yeah.
So it has its pros and cons.
So let's look at, what tightening up on the lending side really looks like, right? So I don't know exactly to a T what we're looking at, but let's just say somebody that qualified for $530,000 mortgage at, we'll say 2.5% interest, right? That same borrower in today's market, where interest, what are rates, about 7% right now?
They're about 7, yeah.
At 7%, the person that qualified for $530,000 house today, would you say what? Maybe
so
300,000.
Every quarter percent is generally about $30,000 in buying power lost.
So we're looking at 120 per percentage.
$300,000 now.
Yeah, so that's roughly cut it in half.
It's cut in half. You pretty much cut that. You slim that up.
300K if you're lucky, right? Like literally, you're looking at somebody that qualified for a $530,000 house 5 months ago that barely qualifies for $300 or below $250,000 house in today's market. That in its simplest form should show you how much we've squeezed the liquidity and the money out of the market, right? Which really tightens up things at a pretty big scale.